Talk 14. Castles made of sand. On hard work, purposeful action and effort, innovation and finding your higher purpose. Let me tell you a story about a time I worked. And it all worked out great. It was in London, in a hotel called the Strand Palace Hotel, not far from Buckingham Palace. It was my first ever abstract painting commission. Normally, people judge you as an artist if the form you paint looks like the form in reality. Painting of a table looks like a table. This time, the CEO asked me to paint abstract. He walked me to a newly refurbished restaurant. All the walls were white with soft lighting. He showed me a large empty wall and said, "There, do what you like with it. Abstract. You have 30 minutes after lunch." I brought dust sheets, rollers, and small pots of paint. I rolled on a large, flat, blue-green area. It dried quickly. Then I popped open a small can of goldish yellow paint, drew my arm back, and threw the paint in a long splat across the wall. It was so satisfying. All the staff watched from behind me. They applauded. I was paid very well. The CEO loved it and asked for many more paintings like it. Now, that was a good day. I remember my dad saying about work, when he was cutting a piece of wood, "Let the saw do the work." A reflective question for you. When have you done something simple that felt deeply meaningful? I also worked closely with therapists using music and movement with brain-damaged children who had almost no hearing. So in a way, it was a near-death experience. Boo! So when you reflect about work and our life purpose, it really helps if we find something deeper in it. True purpose isn't found in the magnitude of the task, but in the intention behind it, whether mundane or creative. I mean, huge tasks. I did the Egyptian dome, 350 square meters. It's huge. And 100 columns in the 9 floors below it. Sometimes we overdo it. We all work hard. I met a workaholic German in India, busy gardening. Gardening on holiday? I asked if their doctor had suggested they go and relax in India. To make them feel at home, I said that I was also a workaholic, that I went up inside the great, huge golden meditation orb, the Matra Mandir, every day at 4:30 p.m. to meditate. But I said that I really go around carpet vacuuming, asking everyone to lift up their legs and irritating them all. Excuse me. Yeah, can you just lift up your legs, please? We all work hard, maybe too hard. Once a day, little tactic for you, an effort check. Once a day, ask, where is my energy going? Just notice, no judgment. Are you doing too little work? Are you doing too much work? Ask and reflect. What does meaningful work look for me right now? It might be something different, inner work, outer work, energy work, psychic work, higher work, subtle energy work, or even things like body work, massage. Now ponder, what would change if you focused more on the why of your actions? Some humour for my new journal, The Breather's Digest. Some work jokes. Some jobs we may have had. I lost my job as a psychic. I did not see that coming. After that, I considered inspecting mirrors. It's a job I could really see myself doing. Because I didn't like my job as a waiter, but at least I was putting food on the table. Now there's other jobs. The pollen count. That's a difficult job. My auntie, it's difficult to say what she does. She sells seashells on the seashore. The firefighters wanted more money, but a pole was taken. Then they all fell through a hole in the floor. I sometimes wonder what my grandfather would think of what I do for a living. He ran a kebab store. He was buried with all his equipment. He is probably turning in his grave. Now a true account. During my interim years, I was once asked to refinish an ambassador's walnut solid wood floor. Using a floor polisher all day made my fingers go numb, completely white. So I taped the handle permanently squeezed to the on position. They're like brake handles on a bicycle. Turning it on and off at the wall socket. You held it like a lawnmower, and the circular base went spinning round. Overnight, the floor polisher was left plugged in with the go handle taped to stay on the whole time. Half asleep in the morning, I went round getting everything ready and turned on the electric plug socket. Click, the whole machine starts up, except that the spinning base stayed totally still. And now the stalk and the handle span round and round and round and round madly like a helicopter, narrowly missing all the other items and windows until I could shut it off. Luckily, it missed anything valuable and I got it back under control. Hard work is patience, then queuing. What does meaningful work look for you right now? For me, writing talks. Have you ever worked hard on something only to realize you weren't sure why you were doing it? Hard work. It sounds like Aardvark. An amazing creature, the Aardvark. Weird spelling, Dutch. A-A-R-D-V-A-R-K. You know why it's called Aardvark, don't you? When there was the great flood coming, and there was the queue for the ark, all the animals were told by Noah that they would be going in alphabetical order. Pushing in front of all the other animals was the ant-eating, long-snouted creature and its family. We're first, it said, shoving in. It's Aardvark, double A. Hard work without reflection leads to burnout. But purposeful effort leads to growth. The difference is awareness. I notice that when you're really sure that what you are doing is what you should be doing with your lifetime, time vanishes. Yet tasks done simply for money or others' expectations, time drags forever. Not all effort is skillful. Working as a trusted home help for someone called Lady Jane in a place called Royston in England, I was asked to do all sorts of odd jobs around the very large house and garden grounds. One day I was in the ground floor laundry room, and out of the corner of my eye, a black flappy object fluttered and jumped in one of the laundry baskets. I thought, with curiosity and compassion, is it a bird caught in the basket? I leaned over so I could find the poor, frightened creature. It must be caught down in all the laundry. Just then, a cluster of used towels and underwear fell from just above me and landed on my head. Unknown to me, there was a laundry chute from the upper floors. It hadn't been a bird at all. It had been black underwear flying out and landing in the basket from the laundry chute on the 4th floor. Have you seen how questions like this change throughout your life? The meaning of work shifts through your life. What does meaningful work look like for me now? Small tactics work. Try to reduce by 10%. Soften effort slightly. Relax your jaw, shoulders, breath. Do the same task, just with less strain. Finding your higher purpose. Have you seen how questions like this change throughout your life? Ask yourself, what does meaningful work look like for me now? It changes. After it, ask, what might purposeful pauses during effort look like in my life? Over-identifying with work creates fragility. And who are you if your role disappears? How did the doctor cure the invisible man? He took him to the ICU. A psychiatrist's secretary walked into his study and said, "There's a gentleman in the waiting room asking to see you. Claims he's invisible." The psychiatrist responded, "Tell him I can't see him." Yesterday, I drank a bottle of invisible ink. I was in the hospital all night waiting to be seen. I've spent my whole life searching for an invisible dolphin, but now I don't see the porpoise. You know that a tree needs firm roots for stability, yet must bend wildly to survive storms. That's why Malaysians are good Buddhists. You know why? Lots of rubber trees. Defective rotoscope. I was at the Spiritual Community Centre in India, where in the centre there is a huge golden dome with a high up inner sanctum. In the top of the huge inner sanctum, which has no windows, is all white. It's 10-sided kind of marble room. In the top, there is a single shaft of light from the sun. The slim shaft of light shines directly onto an enormous crystal orb at the center of the floor, balanced on a golden frame. I had been told the laser-like shaft of light represents sincerity. Before I could go inside to meditate, I would talk with the gardeners. There was one young bearded Indian guy, and he had spent many years in Germany. I speak a little bit of German. I learned it from an Audi advert, Vorsprung durch Technik, progress through technology. I had been into the inner sanctum and had witnessed almost a miracle. Sprays of rainbows in the air, morphing across the upper reaches of the chamber. The next day, I wanted to know the spiritual significance and interpretation of the spectral rainbow light. I asked the Indian man who had spent time in Germany. He replied, "Oh, no. If you are seeing rainbows in the inner sanctum, that is mainly due to a defective rotoscope." I saw him watering the garden, his thumb causing a spray. "I am making rainbows," he said. He was a talented classical guitar player. He said he was suffering gases and wind in the stomach. He had been to see a doctor, he said. I asked if he had told her he played classical guitar. She might have changed her diagnosis and asked him to water the garden in a different key or use a capo. When was the last time you felt playful or creative in something that you had to do? And what kind of mind are you building while you work? Because true work in Dharma is the shaping of the heart. My family once had a young French lady come to stay at our house to practice her English. She wasn't that young. She was about 25. My mum was a good cook and always served everyone at the table. After a first round, my mum asked the French lady, "Would you like some more food, Chantal?" "Oh no," she replied politely. "I am completely fed up." Creativity is not a break from work. It's the spirit we bring to our efforts, turning tasks into play. Intention determines meaning. While I was staying at a Chinese temple in the Philippines, I tried storing my own soya milk made from the tofu beans curd that the temple made. I put it in several glass bottles with rubber-stopped screw lids, took to my room, and stored it in a plastic ice chest under my desk. The first bottle I tried in my hot drinks. It was very disappointing, tasted like chalk. I decided the experiment had failed. At that time, Russia had just invaded Ukraine. It was big news. I was reading about it at night. I wondered if anyone had ever tried to assassinate President Putin. Just a simple bit of research. So I opened Google and put the words in, assassinate Putin, and I hit return. The moment I tapped the keyboard button, a huge exploding bang rocked my... Wide-eyed, I scanned the room, like my computer had been hacked. Heart pounding. Slowly, I cautiously crawled to a safe distance corner and stood peeking around. Bomb? satellite-deployed missile grenade? Puzzled, I tried to figure out what had happened. After looking high and low, I opened the plastic ice chest. There was splattered tofu and broken glass in there everywhere. The tofu had fermented and gassed up inside the bottle until breaking point. Bang! My instant karma for thinking about assassination. Intention determines meaning. You should name the attention, a good tactic. Before starting, just choose one word like serve, learn, care, and let that guide the task. Peaceful, harmony, friendly, honesty. Focus like that. And then ask yourself, what does meaningful work look like for me now? It would be very different. And after it, ask, how might I reimagine one routine task with a touch of creativity? My father was originally trained in his apprenticeship in aircraft manufacture, British Aerospace. He once described to me the transition from steel-riveted manufacture of aeroplanes to lightweight aluminium. He described a visit to a huge aircraft hangar, and in a far distant corner, under lights, was the gleaming figure of the unseen before supersonic Concorde, the fastest airplane in the world. Of course, the Buddha foretold all this. Yeah. I saw it in the Pali Canon. It says, the Vajis, the tribe, Vajis should always do business in Concorde. Says it like this. As long as the Vajis meet frequently and have many meetings, they can expect growth, not decline. Ananda, have you heard that the Vajis meet in Concorde, leave in Concorde, and carry on their business in Concorde? I have heard that, sir. As long as the Vajis meet in Concorde, leave in Concorde, and carry on their business in Concorde, they can expect growth, not decline. See? Told you. I was once working at that time in that London job I told you about, the splatter on the wall, the splash. And I was almost immediately afterwards in a total state of surrender, listening to the universe, releasing all my attachments. I was almost immediately invited to Egypt, to a place called the Pyramids Hotel, looking right at the pyramids. There was a swimming pool. Little did I know, very recently, an infant had been drowned in that swimming pool through faulty electrics. One of the reasons I was invited there was to try to get the place going better, because it had such a bad reputation because of the electricals. There you go. That's another story for another day. Have you ever felt part of something bigger, even in small actions? A journey of growth that is spanning many, many lifetimes? When you see that many countries are developing and helping each other, that humanity is moving forward, spanning centuries, the miracle of science and progress. After working at a banquet at the Royal Windsor Castle, me and a guy called Donny were driving home. In the night, a Boeing 747 flew low overhead, and I noticed that the Windsor Castle, lit up at night, was dead in line with Heathrow landing strip number 4. I said to Donny, the driver, you would have thought they would have considered that. How dangerous that is when designing a castle, wouldn't you? Every meaningful effort, be it physical labor or spiritual practice, is part of a greater unfolding. We contribute, but we don't fully control. Yet if our sense of identity is built on productivity, it is fragile. I often was very puzzled and frustrated in the relationship I had with my father. The differences and communication problems went on and on for many years. One retreat, I decided to tackle it head on and use all my meditation to penetrate the truth and understand it. I asked for all the assistance of the devas and set about focusing. What emerged was firstly to look at the lives of two people roughly similar to me and my father. After some contemplation, I chose Aldous Huxley as me, British, mystic, artistic, imaginative and spiritual, and to contrast him with Henry Ford, representing my father's mindset. Bit of background. My father worked first in airplane and then in automobile industry, where he thrived and was totally absorbed in car manufacture, day and night for as long as I could remember. General Motors. So I studied Huxley and Ford's lives until I could see the difference and their lives and mentalities clearly. Then in meditation, the nudge came, the question, everyone knows who Henry Ford is, but who founded General Motors? I blinked. Yeah, who did? I got the laptop, Googled the question, up came a name, William Durant. It meant nothing to me. I hit the images to see what he looked like. I fell off my chair. There was my dad, all but the same in black and white. Dumbfounded, I sent the photo to my cousin in the USA and asked him who it was. It's your dad, he replied, believing it was an old early photo. This echoes the Buddha's teachings on how people's work can span many lifetimes and the complications that go with it, their karmic work and their career work. For 1 minute, imagine your roles gone. The work role, the family role, the social role. Who are you without the title? Feel that. What would it feel like to trust that your effort is one thread in a larger unfolding? What does meaningful work look like for you now? Here's a metaphor for self-improvement. It's like polishing a mirror. You can renovate the house endlessly, change the furniture around, but if the mirror is dusty and greasy, you still won't see clearly. The real work is polishing the mirror, not just moving the furniture around. Remember, if you are a compulsive workaholic, don't just do something, sit there. Another metaphor, tuning the instrument. You can play louder and faster, but if the instrument is out of tune, the music's still going to be suffering. The deepest work is tuning the instrument. Balance is not the absence of effort. It's knowing when to push forward and when to step back, trusting the natural rhythm of action and rest. The sun shines hot and all activity grows. The moon comes out and all rests quietly. The deepest work is shaping the heart. Work on the heart while you work on the world. The most important work is inner work, trusting the natural rhythm of action and rest. Metaphor again, training the soil. You can plant many projects, but if the soil is poor, nothing thrives. The real work is enriching the soil. Training a muscle. The mind is like a muscle. Whatever you repeatedly lift grows. If you lift resentment, resentment strengthens. If you lift gratitude, gratitude strengthens. Adjusting the lens. Life doesn't change instantly, but the lens can. Shift the lens, and the same scene becomes workable. Rewiring the path. The brain walks the path it uses most. Each intentional thought lays another stone. Work is not only what you do outside, it's which mental paths you reinforce. Remember, the deepest work is shaping the heart. Thank you very much for attending my talk, and I wish you Nibbana in the shortest possible time, and may you be free from all avoidable suffering. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.